And thank you so much, Inka, for the phenomenal work that you do. I'm very proud of you, and it's an absolute pleasure to share moments with all the remarkable leaders on the call today. And thank you so much for, just making out time, investing in your own growth and transformation. And we really truly have Yinka and all the extraordinary leaders in this work to thank for just curating a space for learning, a space for growth, a space for transformation. Okay, let's get into the business of the day. I'm going to make the most of the time that I have, which is maybe about another 45 minutes. And I'm confident that, it's going to add value to your ongoing journey of transformation. So thankful for each of you and very proud of what this year has looked like. If you were to describe this year in words, how would you describe this year for you if you were to express in a word, in a phrase, in a sentence, what 2024 has been? How would you describe it? I love it. Growth, brokenness, exciting, growth-oriented, growth. I love it a lot. A blessing, destiny-defining, challenging, life-changing, incredible, growth, directional, eye-opening, transitory, exponential, refinement, purpose and discovery, novel, growth, destiny-defining, growth, lovely, purpose, discovery, transformative, excellent, unleashment, new, self-discovery. The only thing constant is change. That's what 2024 has been for me. Capacity building, endless possibilities, stretchful, self-discovery, multiplied grace, realization, preparatory, learning, getting better, powerful, powerful. Okay, I'm going to call a number of things, and I just want you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay? So let us explore 5 things, and you just tell me, DDK, this is how I'd rate it. So I'm going to put all 5 on the screen, in the chat, I mean. And you're now going to take each of them and place your ratings there. So I'm bringing them for you now. Working on that for you. Okay, over there, you've got this 5 areas that I just want us to explore together. Your paradigms, maybe I should edit that a bit more for clarity. I don't think I can do that, but your paradigms, which is speaking about your mindset, practices, the things you find yourself doing daily, partnerships, relationships that matter and make a difference for you, purpose, your mission-driven activities that make you feel like I'm actually on the right path. And then positioning, opportunities that you're creating, your personal brand. I want you to take all 5 and I want you to put a scoring beside each of them on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being DDK, this is blown so big and so positive this year. I've really grown in this area and I've made intentional investment. 1 being, what are you even talking about? I haven't started anything here. So tell me how you score on each of this, and we start to move forward. Paradigms. I remember we're talking your mindset here. If your mind has shifted, if your thinking has shifted, if you see yourself more correctly, practices, what you're doing consistently that you feel very proud of and you believe is really supporting your transformation. partnerships, everything around mentorships, friendships, volunteering, you know, purpose, the clarity you have around your life's mission and the specific steps that you're taking to walk in your purpose. And then positioning, how are you maximizing opportunities that allow you be seen by those that matter and improves your personal brand amongst your stakeholders. Well done. Okay, that is great. I see it coming through. Looks like we could do better with partnerships. It looks like a growth area for a number of us. I can see those who are blazing on fives and fours. But generally, it looks like partnerships may be a growth area for a number. But I also see those who are really succeeding in that area. Well done. Okay. Thank you for sharing. I see those who are saying, DDK, there are grounds to cover in positioning. I see those who are saying, I have to do better with my sense of purpose, okay? But it looks like we are averaging out very strong on paradigms. Paradigms. This is good. Well done. A lot of us seem to be doing quite good with our paradigms. I see a strong sense of purpose coming through as well. So well done, and I'm very proud of you. It looks like partnerships, partnerships positioning quite low for most of us. It looks like purpose and paradigms doing quite good. And then, no, paradigms and purpose. Am I correct? Yes, paradigms and purpose. It looks like practices is kind of just average for most people, 2, 3 for a lot of people. Okay, well done. And I'm very proud of you. Now, I'm going to put for you 5 triggers of growth, and you're going to rate yourself on this as well. The goal here is for you to tell me which of these things you've done the most that has given you the greatest results in these 5 dimensions of your life and expression. So let's look at your growth toolkit, and then you talk to me about which ones have really supported your growth. Okay, so rate those on a scale of 1 to 5 as well. Which of these have impacted you the most, helping you shape your paradigm, practices, sense of purpose, partnerships, your positioning? Okay, would you be learning, whether you're reading alone or you're taking a course? You know, would it be community, being with a certain caliber of minds that has really impacted your own thinking and decisions? Would it be mentorship and maybe coaching, that direct access you have to a leader that is inspiring you? Would it be volunteering, putting yourself out there, putting in the work and seeing that you're growing? Would it be executing the goals that you set? Okay. So learning is really blazing for a lot of us. Okay. Well done. I want you to rate it, please. Don't just put 1 or 2 for me. I want you to rate everything. Learning strong for a number of us, community low for some, high for some. It looks like volunteering is really taking the lead. This is good. Well done to each of you. Okay. Learning and volunteering seem to be very, very strong. Okay. Seem to be very strong. Okay. I'm now going to put uh, leadership limitations, and you're going to rate yourself on how it's affecting you. 5 being, this is really affecting me. 1 being, no, this has nothing on me. Okay. Okay. So take each of this and do a scoring for me. Leadership limitations. Which of this impacted you the most? Whether you thought about it before or you're reading now and saying, okay, this likely affected me in 2024 or over the years that you feel has impacted your growth or the release of your potential. Okay, talk to me about this one. Thank you for sharing on your growth toolkit. Very commendable. Okay, let me give you a version of this that doesn't have the explanations. So it's easy to put your scoring beside it. Okay, I see. Okay, looks like absence of a life system is strong. Learned helplessness. Global TT says it's even a 0. Okay, well done. Remember, you're rating higher if this limitation affected you a lot. Okay, thank you for sharing. Absence of a life system is still coming up. Poor self-image sort of is coming up. Okay. A wrong association. Interestingly, rates quite low for many of you. Low resources is also rated low for it. Okay, not low for everyone. It's a mixed response on that one. Okay. I can see 0 on some of this. Lewis, well done. Where you're saying I'm not impacted by this in any way. Okay. So lack of clarity seems very strong for a number of us. Low resources coming up a lot as well. Weak discipline coming up a lot as well. Okay. So you're catching a sense of some of things that might be impacting you. And you can naturally already begin to think about maybe specific steps that you can take. Okay. The final one I'm going to ask you is your most impactful personal transformation tools. Okay, let's talk about your personal transformation tools. I.e., if you want to create a change in your life, which of these often help you the most? Okay, that if you put into practice, it really makes a difference for you. Okay, so that's the final scoring I want you to do. Let's say you look at some of these limitations, or you look at the areas you didn't grow as much as you wanted, and you're saying 2025 has to be different. Which of these personal transformation tools have you used the most, and they always help you shift to better outcomes in your life? And you find yourself every time you make a big move in an area of your life, if you use any of these tools, they really help you. Okay, thank you. Great, Paulina. 1 to 5 again. 5 being this always works. It never fails. 1 being I'm not sure I've really tried this one a lot, or when I tried it, it didn't work for me. Okay. I can see prayers and confessions. I can see accountability partners setting strong goals. have worked for a number of people. Okay, Meg says it's a 5 on everything. They all work for her. Okay. Planning a reward for new behavior seems to be low for most people, where you're not like thinking about, if I achieve this new way of behaving and thinking, then this is what I'm going to give myself. Okay. For a number of us, it looks like prayers and confessions are a big deal. Setting strong goals, accountability partners. Okay, looks like a number of us also haven't actively used, or some of us haven't used modeling. Some of us have really used it as well. But generally, these tools look like a number of us are rating really highly across at least 3 or 4 of them. Some of us are even rating highly on all 5. And I see someone, that hasn't used accountability partners. So you've got to try that one out, or you've used it and you're saying it's never worked for me. But it's a really powerful tool for shifting yourself into personal transformation. Okay, well done, well done, well done. In 2025, we are setting up a more intentional coaching system for Gen Zs. So I would 100% work with Yinka to ensure that you're able to be a part of it at Immerse. So we're going to work out granting you the access that you need, to be a part of the community, and you will be able to just, continue to learn, be intentional about your community, access our courses, and so we'll work that out, and we will see what kind of success we can help you create in your life as far as that is concerned. Okay, I want to show you a few things that I have found. What I would love to talk to you, or to just have a conversation around in the next few minutes, is really what I have found as a leader working with young people. I work with Gen Zs. I even have some of my team members and proteges right on this call, which is quite exciting. And I find that there is a new generation of leaders emerging amongst you guys, and I'm already seeing some distinguishing factors that stand leaders out from the rest, especially as a member of the Gen Z. So I wanted us to highlight that as someone who, is leading quite a growing army of people that has the younger generation strongly represented. And because Gen Zs are remarkable in creativity, in genius, in brilliance, and there are God-giving unique opportunities that is associated with this generational identity, then it becomes really important for us to be intentional about how we want to be represented, how we want the kind of show up game that you want to have as a young person. And I started to think, for the young people around me who work with me, who are proteges, who have even collaborated on their own projects with us, what things have I found that really stand them out? And what things am I really recommending to young people in this particular generation that can empower you to stand out very quickly as a leader, access very unique opportunities, release your purpose, find fuel and fund your purpose really early, and be able to make a difference in a way that matters. And those are the things that I would love to highlight to you. We already likely operate some of them, and I can see that kind of energy amongst you great leaders on this call, and maybe even in the larger community. I don't think we've been recording this call, which is interesting.
Yeah, recording, ma'am.
You're recording on your side. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. So you would hear some of these things and you would be like, In fact, we're going to rate ourselves again when we're done. So you hear some things, and I believe they would resonate as things you already do, even if you weren't very conscious of them. I want you to be conscious of them. And before I share some of these things with you, I want to give you a sense of some of the unique advantages that come with positioning yourself as a Gen Z leader. The first thing that comes with that is you're going to be able to access opportunities that have been designed for Gen Zs in this dispensation. There are opportunities that are associated with youth, where institutions and leaders across generations really believe that if a young person has this thing, going for them, then they are going to be shapers of the future. And you have this unique advantage, because you're a young person, and the other generations really take you seriously. Like, if you're this young and you have this kind of skills and principles, then you are a leader to watch out for. So there are going to be opportunities that will come your way. The second thing is you're going to quickly position your personal brand as a respectable and reliable solution provider. And that is going to be a door opener for you to platforms, to revenue generation. And it's surely a great advantage to position yourself that way. Number three, you're going to become a person of value. And this is a personal gift you first give yourself before you give the world. You're going to be a person of value. You're going to rack up value in your mindset, in your habits, in your relationships, in your learning. You're generally going to be a high potential young person who will then be at least 3 to 5 steps ahead of your contemporaries, and that will start to really mark you and make a difference. In another 2 to 5 years, you're going to be a standout type of leader, and it will add a lot of value to your career prospects and the kind of spaces you can get into early on. So I don't want you to be caught there is the temptation to be caught in the giftedness of youth. You guys are a very remarkable bunch. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of visionary strength, that exists with Gen Zs, and there's a way you see the world that is so fresh and so powerful and different. But I don't want you to be caught in the energy of youth without merging it with character. You see, there's a lot of capacity that you guys carry, but you have to strengthen competence and character early on and very intentionally. So this is what I have found in a very data-driven sense, working with many young people, leading young people, collaborating with young people, and really observing the trends and the shifts of this generation and its own unique identity and opportunities. And the first I would really love to highlight for you is vision and brutal focus. Vision and brutal focus. I want to challenge you to really prioritize growing a sense of purpose. I want you to go after a rich understanding of yourself. The way we describe it in Immerse is getting a PhD in yourself. Go after a very rich understanding of yourself. There's a Gallup assessment I want to challenge you to take. It's paid for, but I'm going to put it up here for you. It's something you can save toward. The one I'm recommending for you is, what does it cost? Let me see what it costs. It costs $24. $24. So it's something you can save up for. But what I'm going to also do is share with you a list of free assessments that you can take. Let me pull one up for you. If you can't take the Gallup assessment yet, let me show you one that is one of the most comprehensive I've ever used as a coach. And you can start with that one because it's completely free. So let's see. Fantastic. So I'm pulling that up for you. But the deal here is I want you to be very, very vision driven. I want you to have a powerful sense of focus. To be vision driven, listen carefully to this. In this phase of your life, when you're still younger, to be vision-driven is not primarily about what specific project, do I want to work on? It's more about what is my role in the world. Do you get? So some of you may not even necessarily have a project you want to create. At this level, you may not necessarily feel like this is the big thing I want to do for the world. You may just want to volunteer and support. But to be vision-driven as a Gen Z is primarily first about answering the important question, what burns in my heart? Where do I want to make a difference in the world? What is my role? What stands me out? What is my unique fragrance and radiance and color? Why am I here? What sets me apart? And that is why at this level, being is very connected to gaining a PhD in yourself. You have to go and get a strong sense of who you are. And it's an ongoing journey. These are books that I will heartily recommend for you to check out. Let me see if I can pull the... Okay, lovely. This particular one is an entire resource library that has gone beyond a book. It's A Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. So check it out and let it start to shape your sense of purpose. Then there's another book I really want to recommend by my mentor. Anyone who ever hears me speak knows that I talk about this book. So I'm trying to catch the Amazon link for you and share it as well. It's called Hello Tomorrow by Dr. Cindy Trim. Okay. So that is the phase you're in. And I really just challenge you to be very visionary and carry a strong sense of curiosity about who you are. You are your greatest asset, and you're going to leverage yourself so remarkably in the coming years. But this is the time of your life where you have to know who you are. This is the phase also where people face their greatest identity distortions. So I want you to go for the jugular against identity distortions. I don't want you to think it's fancy to not like yourself. It's not fancy to be shy. Being shy is not a personality type. It's a psychological dysfunction. You ought not to be shy. You ought to want to put yourself there. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, but being an introvert is not the same as being shy, right? Introverts have a perspective, they have an opinion, they may want to share it, they may not want to share it, but they know who they are and they know what they want when they're in that space of psychological strength and healing. So I want you to really prioritize that. And I'm not talking to you about, being fluffy with this concept I'm sharing with you. I want you to take almost like a doctoral rigor into it. Who am I? You must be able to answer that. What are my greatest strengths? If I were to leverage myself as an asset, what can I play to that will never fail me? Do you see this? If I had an opportunity to present before or to speak to a leader I really admire, what would I say about myself that will resonate with them? Do you see this? So I want you to begin to grow that area, and some of you already have that. The second thing I want to challenge you to pay attention to, and a lot of you have that already, to be in Purpose Drive Global, is I want you to expand your personal transformation quest. Listen up to me. Your personal transformation quest is not the same as reading books. The moment you cross the 18-year milestone, you ought not to prioritize a passion for reading books. You ought to use learning more strategically. When you're over 18 years old, you don't have the time to be boasting that you read 30 books a year, 50 books a year. Who that one help? And I know what I'm saying sounds almost like confusing or, counterintuitive, like, but I thought book reading was such a great thing. It is a great thing. But when you have a personal transformation quest, let me teach you how to read. These are some of the things that will change in the way you seek learning. Number one, when you have a personal transformation quest, you understand that what you give your mind access to has a direct impact on your growth. So you carefully curate your learning. You don't give your mind you don't give other people access to your mind anyhow. You don't listen to everything because it's available on YouTube, because you're going to replicate after what has access to your mind, right? So you're more careful to intentionally curate your learning, asking yourself, is what I'm exposing myself to aligned to who I prefer to become? Is what I'm exposing myself to, what I'm exposing my mind to, is it aligned to who I want to really become? When you have a personal transformation quest, you use learning to close specific character and competence gaps. Let me know if you understand me here. You start to ask, where do I want to grow and what can help me grow? Do you see this? So you're not reading every book because, well, it's a great book and everybody talks about it, right? And that's why I asked you some of questions I asked. So if you simply go back, for example, to your leadership limitations, and you discover there that you have weak discipline or low self-image, the immediate question is, oh my God, I see why I've not taken on some opportunities. I see why I procrastinate. Notice I didn't list some things we are used to in leadership limitations. I didn't talk about procrastination. I didn't talk about maybe poor time mastery. I didn't talk about how you manage your friendships or circles. Some people have a lot of dramatic people around them. There's always drama, always trauma. And that's why there's stigma. They're always around the oddest people, always dragged down by, just normalized nonsense. And the reason I didn't put some of those things is they are traceable to deeper issues, such as your self-esteem, right? People who procrastinate is connected to their self-image. People who do shoddy, mediocre work and are very lazy and incompetent is connected to self-image. Also, yes, is the root. It's rooted in a poor self-image. So if you were looking at your leadership limitations, you could say to yourself, oh my God, I see why I've not been able to achieve this and that, and I want to prioritize healing my self-image. Then you start to ask, what books do I need? Which mentors do I need? And remember, I also gave you your personal transformation tools. So you could go back to those tools and connect it to your leadership limitations. What book should I be reading? What course should I take? Which mentor could I speak to? Which community should I belong to? What specific actions should I start to take? Do you see this? Because you have a personal transformation quest. So I want to challenge you to transition from just a love for learning, which is really great, right? If you take the Gallup assessment, some of you may find that one of your strengths is learning. I'm a learner. That's in my top 5 strengths. I can learn about any and everything. I'm curious. And I've still maintained it over the years, but I've now channeled my learning more intentionally to my personal transformation quest. And I'm asking myself, who do I want to be? And what do I need to know to become that person? So that's a remarkable leadership strength that I would love to see you grow, because these are the best years to start to fashion some competence and character that will go with you for many years. Number 3, I want you to begin to think about influence as responsibility. Influence as responsibility. Influence as responsibility. If you lead any small community, if you have followers on Instagram, if you're a powerful content creator, if you are the rep in your department, if you are a leader in a campus fellowship or a ministry, I don't want you to be bloated with a sense of power. I beg you. It trips young people to fall a lot. But if you want to have longevity, think about influence as a responsibility, and don't be high on your own supply. Do not be high. I see people, and they have 100K followers, 300 followers, warning yourself. I say campus pastors who are papas, and nobody can talk to them because they're big men of God in their minds. I see young people who have written books, who are speaking on platforms. The world has opened up to you. It's a blessing, but make sure that you're not high on your own supply. Now, how do you imbibe this paradigm of influence as responsibility? Number one, you ought to recognize that those who have influence can negotiate an advantage for the vast majority. Those who have influence can negotiate an advantage for the vast majority. If you have influence, you are likely to be able to make a decision that either positively or negatively affects more people than yourself. And that is the blessing of influence. So you have to ask yourself, how am I going to put to use this space of influence that I have? You see what Yinka is doing. We gathered at a conference this year, last year. That is influence as a responsibility, knowing that she has a leverage and she's intentionally using it to prepare a generation. Another thing that you start to think about and practice within this construct of influence as a responsibility is that you ought to line up behind an agenda. Whenever you have influence, you need to know that you shape people's perspectives and you shape narratives. You shape personal perspectives and you shape social stereotypes. You ought to shift stereotypes. You ought to shift narratives with everything that you say and you post. So you can't post emotionally and just be like, what's in the up, everything is just tinubuing, and you're just being cool and funny. You have to think a bit more about your digital footprints and what you want to be remembered for and the kind of narratives that you are shaping. The third thing that you've got to recognize when it comes to influence as a responsibility is that you're a model for other people, those who are younger and those who are within your generation. And what you want to be careful not to do is while you don't want to now have this weight, this burden on your shoulder, and I'm born, you waiting be my own, why you don't want to have that weight, you want to be careful that the way you carry yourself represent a value system that you want to line up behind and a value system that you are proud of. So it means that the moment you have influence, you can't afford to be carried by the herd mentality. You can't wait because everybody's wearing it. You can't say it because everybody's saying it. The moment you have responsibility, you always have to step back and say, what do I really believe about this matter? What do I really believe? Is this am I representing my opinion or the opinion of the herd, the opinion of the masses? The moment you have influence, if there are other people who look up to you, who listen to you, then you have to become you have to become a leader who steps back and reflects, meditates, and frames your own unique thoughts. And when you're not sure, you should actually ask mentors. When you're not sure, how to handle a situation, you should not count only on your own brilliance or wisdom. You should seek guidance because that matters a lot. Number 4, work as a personal brand. This one is going to change your life. I'm telling you. Work as a personal brand. Let me tell you what happens to young people. Young people get a work opportunity and they do at the level of youth. They're just like, I'm an intern. This I said I want here. I said I volunteer as your communications something, on a project. Can you still hear me? Yinka, just give me a nod if you can hear me. Okay, lovely. So, I'm an intern or I'm just volunteering. It's not even a paid role. And I said I will be part of the communications team for this conference. So in your mind, you are coming on board. Let me tell you how many young people come on board. You come on board projects or work opportunities just as a young person. Let's just see what is there. And they will train me now. They know I'm young. It's not like they're really expecting anything serious now. I just graduated. What do I know? Which work experience do I have? Even all these CEOs, they're very funny. It's not like you're paying me. And they don't expect, no. There is no leader who invites human capital to their vision, believing that they will bring nonsense. There's no leader like that. Do you get this? It's a value-driven transaction. Any leader who says, even when you say, I want to submit to you, Leaders still wait and they ask themselves, submit what? That's why some people say, I want to submit my life, my destiny. And the leader still says, I will let you know, if there's any opportunity for us to connect. And they will give you philosophical statements like the future will tell, you know, if our path is connected, our rivers will still stream together. And they will dismiss you because they may look at that person and really say, submit what? Because the concept of even submission is that you've got something valuable that you're saying, I'm laying this down to just build under you or to, do you see this? So many times young people come on projects and work opportunities and they're just thinking, I'm a young person now. I just want to learn, you know, but there's no leader who is inviting anybody, no matter how young, to be a part of anything that they're doing that matters to their vision and life and legacy, that they're not expecting that some value is going to come. They're expecting that value be created. They're expecting that the energy of youth will be leveraged. They're expecting that there will be growth because if you can learn, then we can teach you, right? So if you come and you just do it shoddily and you're hardy on the calls, you know, you don't turn on your video, you commit to something and you don't do it well, all of that, you just average. What you have to know is it is not perceived as merely that you did average work. It is perceived that you are an average person. This is so unsafe for you. When you do average work, it's not remembered that you did average work. That's not the bigger image that sticks is that you were an average person. Mediocre work is believed to be produced by mediocre thinkers. So you may think that they should understand because you're just in part 4 or you're just fresh out of the university. You know, they should understand this is what I could do. And you just put that Word document together, poorly formatted, size 12 is there, font size 10 is there, there's Calibri there, there's also Arial, some parts are bold, you know. When it's received, it's not, oh, this was submitted by our part 3 Unilag intern. Oh, okay, no problem. Yes, now she's young. No. What the leader is thinking is, what manner of mind produced this chaos? Do you see this? So you have to understand that what you produce is perceived as a reflection of who you are. And this is how people lose future opportunity. So in case you're asking, but DDK, it's true. Younger people may not have all the competence, you know, and that's correct. But what you have to know is there's a minimum level of expected excellence within any specified assignment or project. So that's the first thing you always ought to check when you say, I want to volunteer, and they give you a role. The first question you ought to ask is, based on this particular project, organization, or leader, what is the minimum expected level of excellence on this assignment? And you can ask the leader or the reporting line or observe other people on the team. And then the next question you must ask is, are there existing templates, samples, previously completed work that I can reference so that it becomes the starting point of my excellence? The third is, who in my circle or network has the required expertise that is being required or expected on this role that could help me? Do you see this? So don't just think about work as your personal brand. It will matter in the coming days in a very remarkable and significant way. And the final thing that I would highlight for you tonight or today, depending on where you're joining us from, that I would really love for you to keep in your heart as you go forward is the vision of transcendence. I've been teaching it a lot. And when we help you come into Immersed in 2025, then we're going to have a chance to really unpack, you know, where we really want to go with some of these insights that I intend to keep passing on to younger people. But you need to have a vision of transcendence, okay? What is the vision of transcendence? The concept of transcendence is to ask yourself, if I were to rise to the highest level of signature growth and a signature strength and growth in my life in the course of the next 1 to 3 years, who would I be? And who do I know today who looks like that future of my higher strength, higher impact, higher growth, higher transformation, higher possibilities from where I stand today over the course of the next 1 to 3 years? Who would I love to become if I hit the notes of such great transformation in my life, such great leadership, such great impact? Who could I become? And maybe some of you would say something like, in 3 years, I would actually launch a startup, a tech-enabled startup for providing financial inclusion access to the unbanked. I would, have a campaign against food poverty in Africa. I would run the largest, teenage girls boot camp prioritizing sexual purity. And I would have hosted these 2 global conferences in 2 African countries, partnering with the federal government of each country. Yeah, audacious and very bold. These are things I would do in 3 years. The next question becomes, who is a living reality of who this higher version of me in 3 years, right? And you then intentionally start to excavate lessons from their life. You may have access to some. If you do, that is a blessing. If you don't, literally stalk them and explore every access point you have to books they've written or has been reading about them, resources, conferences, and get as close as you can to begin to extract living epistles and principles of what is standing them out, you see, and begin to move in the direction of your own evolution with intention. Every single time I have led a coaching client, a protege, to practice this concept of transcendence, in even less than 3 years, they've actually gone on to create very remarkable possibilities. And it's what I believe you would also be able to do. Let us close out with our scoring tonight. Has this not been quite, mathematical? Well, let's do it. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 across these leadership requirements and tell me where you are currently. I'm putting in the chats for you. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 based on what I have highlighted around some of the remarkable growth areas that a leader has to prioritize going forward. And in the next 2 minutes, I'll put you back in the hands of Yinka. So thank you for having me. And remember that we will still be working with you at Immerse Coaching Company next year as we set up, our Gen Z platform for you. Okay, thank you, Yakubu. Not bad. Your highest is in work as personal brand, and vision and broader focus is a space you are growing. Okay, personal transmission quest for Titilopa is strong. Shalom is blazing the trail across a number of these areas. Sylvester is going to strengthen work as personal brand, but doing greatly with personal transformation quest. Okay, well done to each of you. And very, very proud of the work you are putting in. Thank you so much for having me. I'm able to take maybe a question before I have to leave tonight for my next meeting.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This has been, super, super, super great. And it's just been mind blowing. I feel like if we go further than this, some of us might just explode. Thank you, really, ma'am. So we are just going to be taking one question for tonight. So we would open this up to the house. So who is bold enough? We are bold people here. Who is going to give it a shot to ask DDK a question? Please make sure that question is very serious. You don't want to just ask a joking question, a question that isn't serious. So please, who is that? Just signify by raising your hand, and I'm going to bring you up quickly. Or if everybody is still in that combobulating effect of what we just heard and is not able to process a question, that is fine. That is
That
fine. You
is
can't come up with a
fine.
question because
Yeah, that is fine.
that is also good, right? And we look forward to all that will be happening in 2025. You already heard DDK say it, so we are looking forward to that, and we can't wait. So, okay, we have just one person here, Mubarak. Mubarak, do you want to mute your mic or you have your question in the chat? We'll take for Mubarak. Mubarak, are you there? DDK needs to leave, so all right, I just unmuted you, Mubarak. You can go ahead to speak. Go ahead, Mubarak, in a moment.
Can you hear me, ma?
Right, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And yes, I really appreciate the session tonight. I just want to say a big thank you for letting us have this piece. Wow, I'm feeling so happy right now that I've even have um a more change of mindset now. Okay, so my question is,
Okay.
as a young Muslim child, my goal in life has always been to impact the life of others with every required information I can get. Currently, I'm a student in tertiary Department of Computer Science, and I strive to make sure I more informed about the things that people need to know so they can get elevated through me. Now, so the question I want to ask, what can I do if I'm yet to find a person that I can look up to emulate their example? As per the previous question that was asked by our speaker tonight, the last point she made mention of that if we are to take one now, who I am in. I hope you can understand
Okay.
this, ma'am.
I do. Matt, are you there, Matt? PDDK, are you there?
So is the question, what if I can't find them? Is that what Mubarak is asking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What if I can't find them? To be honest, my belief is that there's nothing we've been called to do that doesn't exist in a form. And what you've described to me is, I would love to impact the lives of young people. I believe that already exists around us. The deeper you even go, clarifying that vision, you may begin to say, this is how I'll do it. Would I do it by modeling? Would I do it by, providing funding opportunities? Would I do it by training? Would I do it by building a community? How am I going to do it? And the more you have your framework for how you want to make a difference for people, for younger people, you will likely find someone else who is already doing that. Maybe not in the fashion you want to do it, but who you can tell is also making a difference. And if you feel like you don't find, then my two other recommendations are often around one, a leader who is on their own path of purpose, even if it looks very different from yours, because there are still transferable skills whenever you find a leader with a vision. The second is exploring biographies and autobiographies, where you're learning from the stories told of remarkable people in your own time or who've lived at a different dispensation, and drawing on the lessons that you can take from that. That will be all I can take at this time.
Yes.
But I thank you so much